Hi, and welcome to another episode of Starship Gaming. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we make more awesome videos. Now, today's going to be another short little video. So, as we know, there are some eager Atari fans out there waiting for the Atari VCS 800. But, if you live in Australia, you're going to have to pay a little bit more for it. So let me give you a quick little background. Atari named Blue Mouth Interactive as the exclusive distributor for the Atari VCS 800 in both Australia and New Zealand. So here's the thing. Some news was released shortly afterwards about how much this thing is actually going to cost on the Australian and New Zealand market. So if you live in Australia, it's going to run you about $6.99. Yeah, that's quite a bit compared to, in the United States it's $2.99. Of course, currency, it's different. Yeah, we all know that. But $6.99 Australian is still quite a lot. In American dollars, that's about $500 roughly in the United States, or in US dollars. And if you live in New Zealand, it's going to be $749.99. Dear God. But you think that would be different. According to a little bit of currency converting, it's actually closer to $490. So I really shouldn't have said, oh dear God, because it's cheaper to buy in New Zealand than it is Australia, by a margin of about $10 or so, give or take. While in the US, the Atari VCS 800 is going to run for a basic 8GB model $299. Yeah, currency conversion is a weird thing. That's why, currency conversion apps come in handy. But when you really compare the two prices, or I should say the three prices, $490 roughly compared to roughly, well, this is US, we're going to talk US here, $490, the $6.99 in Australia, to New Zealand $749, which is actually $490. It's just a weird thing. It's best not to think about it, but think about it on the terms that it's going to cost nearly $200 more in New Zealand, and definitely $200 more in Australia. So when somebody throws out there, oh, it's going to be $6.99 in Australia, then it's actually roughly $500. It actually comes out to $504, but yeah, it's best not to think about it. Just use an app if you want to get accurate conversions. But yeah, it's pretty much going to cost more, nearly $200 more, or in Australia's case, $200 more, just to buy the Atari VCS 800. Of course, in Australia and New Zealand, game consoles do cost more money than any other place. Well, not any other place, but they do cost more than, say, if you lived in Europe or Asia or even North America. A bit off topic, but I do recall seeing a video about a year or so ago about this woman who, when she was a teenager, she would order video games. She lived in New Zealand, by the way. She would order video games, and then she would order them from other parts of the world, United States, or ones that were rare at game stores in New Zealand, and then she would sell them to these stores and make bank, because these were rare games that nobody else could get their hands on, and they wanted to sell these. And she made quite a bit of money off of it. A little off topic, but it just kind of gives you a look at the situation in New Zealand and Australia, about how the gaming market is kind of weird there. weird in the sense that stuff that we take for granted as being common is actually rare there, and you know, all that jazz. But I think you get the gist of it. They are paying too much for their new game consoles in those two countries. Technically a country and a continent if you count Australia. You know, it's both a country and a continent, but we'll call them countries for the sake of making things less confusing. Yeah, this video was going to start out super short, and then I started rambling on about stuff, so we might as well continue with a few more things before I go. And just for the sake of fitting this in, if you didn't know, Australia has some of the strictest video game censorship in the world other than China. Yeah, it's pretty strict there. The gamers in Australia have not been pleased over some of the things going on. I actually know a friend who lived in Australia for a while, and he was definitely not happy with some of the censorship that they have in video games. And I believe he said this after he played a couple video games after he lived in the United States for a few months. So, yeah. They definitely are paying too much for their video game consoles in those two countries. And there's nothing you can really do about it. So, tell me in the comments down below, do you think that these two countries are paying way too much for their game consoles, or more specifically, are paying way too much for the Atari VCS 800? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, I know there's going to be that one person who says, $2.99 is too much in the United States. Well, we're just going to focus on those two countries for now. Of course, that's the topic, Australia and New Zealand, and how they're getting the Atari VCS 800 at that price. So let me know what you think down in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we make more awesome videos. And until next time, I will see ya.